Okay, hi Camille.
Hi, how are you doing?
Really good, you?
Good, good, thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, we just want to ask a couple of questions about your brain training program.
Okay.
So would you like to give us just a little bit of a snapshot of your journey, before and after when you first came, what your concerns were or anything, and what you've experienced in the last 4 months or so?
So initially, I came into brain training because just through various experiences in my life, I'm 30 now, so I've had the chance to experience a good bit of life. I'd noticed that I had certain issues, especially with attention, with how quick I was on my feet, my processing speed, short-term memory. I knew I had these types of issues coming before I started brain training, which was kind of the impetus for me to start. Uh, through various people that I knew and experiences that I had, I'd become aware that I had certain deficiencies. And I could have very happily moved through my life knowing that I could, be below average and just be okay with that. But I wanted to improve myself. Um, I wanted to believe that, even at 30, your brain has plasticity and it can improve. And initially, I came into brain training to Shami, to yourself, because I felt like I had attention issues that I wanted to deal with. And instead of taking other routes, getting shady medication prescribed to you, I wanted to kind of take the harder route or the more permanent route. So I came into brain training because it was highly recommended as a way to kind of permanently fix your what you believe to be your deficiencies. Um, so initially, when I started brain training, I felt I, I had just started a new job. I had was surrounded by different people in my life, so I was kind of a lot of things were changing. So as I was improving my cognitive ability, my job, I was starting a new job. I was learning a ton of new things, and I wasn't entirely sure. Am I making improvements? Am I getting any better? Then I reminded myself that in previous jobs that I'd had, I always struggled to learn the new information that I was being fed. I always struggled with steep learning curves. And I realized that this new job that I started, which I was doing at the same time as brain training, everything just seemed to come easier. I wasn't struggling to learn new information. I didn't feel like I was slow on my feet. I was really, really keeping up with all the new information that was coming my way, and that gave me a lot of confidence. And I realized that it was because of brain training. Um, Now that I'm done with the program, in retrospect, I can see that I've made vast improvements in my short term memory, vast improvements in my attention. I used to have problems where I would interrupt people constantly while they were talking to me because if I had a thought in my mind, I couldn't keep that thought in my mind long enough, or I didn't think I could keep it long enough to wait until that person finished speaking. So a second I had a thought, I'd say it. Second I had a thought, I'd say it, and the other person would obviously get irritated that I'm interrupting them constantly. That was the first thing I noticed was I wasn't doing that anymore because I realized I could keep a thought in my head for as long as I needed to, reword that thought in my head whilst listening to the other person, and then give it back to them and keep a good fluid conversation going. So that was the first thing I saw, the first big change I saw, and that kind of blew my mind that I was capable of not interrupting people. It's a small thing, but it makes a big, big difference.
So when you first came, there were many concerns. For example, you seemed like someone who was obviously very fidgety, very distracted, uh, having loads of clumsy moments throughout the day.
Yeah.
How did that sort of change, like within your first few weeks here?
So definitely a lot less clumsy. I fidget a lot less. It's a lot of it has to do with me just being more self-aware and knowing that I was clumsy or that I was fidgety, and kind of as I went on with the training, that reduced. I'm a lot, even though I was training my brain, I'm a lot more aware of where my body is in space. A lot of that has to do with kind of the qigong that I did with you. That was part of the training that kind of allowed me to kind of center myself and be aware of my physical being as well as my mind. That helped a lot. So a lot of that has changed. A lot less fidgety. Like if I was sitting here 3 months ago before I did the training, I'd be kind of playing with the table. I would be looking out the window every 5 seconds. I don't do that anymore, so that's definitely a good sign.
How would you explain the feeling before and after Qigong?
So when I would do Qigong, it was at the end of my day, around 7 p.m. I had a full work day. I'd had about an hour of brain training under my belt, so I was completely exhausted. But when I would do the Qigong, it completely renews you. It completely resets you. It makes you feel like you just woke up after 9 hours of sleep. So it's definitely something that I've kind of tried to implement in my day here and there. It just completely resets your mind and your nervous system, and definitely something I would recommend.
Okay, super cool. How would your life have looked different if you did brain training 10 years ago?
Probably would have been an astronaut by now.
Okay.
Probably. I think 10 years ago I was definitely lacking in confidence. Even before brain training, I was lacking in confidence because I always felt a little bit behind other people. And now I feel I'm at a point where I kind of feel like at par with a lot of people that I'm contemporaries with. If I did this 10 years ago, I probably would have felt on top of the world. Probably would have had a bit of a superiority complex, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, I don't regret not doing it 10 years ago. I feel great. But the fact that I've done it now, I feel like I have the confidence to know that, my brain is capable of a lot, that I'm capable of a lot, and I'll have a lot of confidence to try and do more things going forward. If I had that kind of confidence to tackle anything and everything and in the back of my head that I can accomplish anything 10 years ago, I don't know where I would be now. But it's never too late to start anything. And the best thing about brain training is now that I have the confidence to feel like I can tackle anything, pretty much.
That's super cool. So wish you the best with your life.
Thank you very
And
much.
thank you so much for coming and showing up and giving your all in every session, regardless of how you felt.
Yeah. Like it's been a great experience. I could not recommend it enough. I would recommend it to absolutely anybody I know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
It would be nice to test my brain. That's something I've always wanted to do. I was never aware of of it being available to me. Like, how can I ever test my brain? What will I know, right? Like, what will it tell me? Like, I didn't know there were things like short-term memory and then processing and then, I don't know, a skill. I just thought people were born with it.
Time to get my brain trained.
With Shami? You ready?
Go. Yep.
9,
10. Let's start again.
6,
10.
so 10, 5,
9.
11,